Beep boop beep. We are starting. Hello everybody. Welcome to the One Trick Two Takes podcast. I'm your host, One Trick Dante. And I am here with the self-proclaimed, I don't know, co-host now of the podcast,
What?
Lorenzo.
We're starting?
Yeah, we started.
Yes, I am the co-host now after that botched podcast from the previous episode. You know how I announced my takeover in my podcast.
That was real. That was why Joseph wasn't
real.
on the last
Yeah.
podcast. And I couldn't get Lorenzo on the last one because he was busy disposing of Joseph.
Mhm.
Well, the little voice mumbly you heard right now was our guest today.
Host,
I'm all
I'm
over the
the
place.
host.
I'm all over the place. You're the co-host. I'm
Same
the host. Jonathan. So hello, everybody. Clap. Everybody smile. Mr. Professional is here. Mr. Exquisite Vocabulary is here.
There could be like several of us.
Yeah, it could be. It could be all three of us. And we are here just to talk about things. So a little, because I didn't give it, I just kind of sprung it on these guys because we were just kind of in a call together. A little lay down of the rules for the podcast. Usually I'll go around and I'll ask, hey, what games or things did you do this week related to games or movies or, pop culture, etc., did you do this week? We all go through, and then we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about the news. And then after that, I'll ask a couple questions, and that'll be the end of the podcast. So, I guess we'll go with the guest first. Jonathan, what kind of games or anything of that variety, movies, have you watched or played this week?
This week, not too much. Something of note, like a couple weeks ago, was I decided to test out the beta for Destiny 2.
How was that? Because that is a topic of something. I'm interested in that because I always found the first one to be fascinating, despite its massive failure. And we can actually talk about that later, but...
I won't defend the gameplay very much. It's more or less the same as the first one. There's a couple new mechanics, like an extra ability, but handled about as well as the first one.
All right. So, Lorenzo, just out of curiosity, because Morjan was talking about the Destiny 2 beta, and I know you played Destiny. You both were very big Destiny fans, and you played a lot of it. Did you have a chance to try out the beta, or were you just too busy with?
Yeah.
Oh, you
no,
did.
I did.
Okay.
I played it.
What was your impression of it? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess it was kind of fun. They're trying to put more story into it or something, I guess. They really kick it off, I guess, like, hit the ground running in that first mission, I suppose. But like, Jonathan was saying, there's a new ability, just kind of throw things around, they have new supers for the classes and stuff. And then now they have new guns like SMGs, and they also reworked some of the way what you can equip as secondaries and primaries. So they did some changes with the gunplay too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it was kind of different and I guess fun. But I mean, it's beta, of course. So I got bored pretty quickly. It's
I mean,
beta.
are you gonna buy the? Are both of
Obviously.
you gonna buy the game when it comes out?
I was thinking about it, but I don't think I'm gonna
Oh wow.
pre-order it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I think
No, I'm
no. Continue. Sorry.
not pre-ordering it. It's not worth $100, but I think I might get it for the PC just to kind of keep up with the story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that would be a good investment. I might do the same. Any other games? Any movies? Anything of that variety that you've seen or watched, Morjan? Anything else?
I went to go see Dunkirk a couple of days ago.
On
Same.
how was that? I heard that. Actually, don't spoil it because I haven't seen it and I do want to see it because I love war movies. Grew up watching them. But what would you rate it out of 10?
Half, I'd say. Absolutely stunning.
So like, well, okay.
Yeah, I know you didn't really give a.
Yeah, that's
You said
like
out of 10, you're like,
absolutely
yes. I know.
And 9.5, I'd say.
stunning. 9.5. That's a pretty good
Uh-huh.
score. You?
That's probably around where I'd stay
Oh
too.
wow. Okay. Maybe we have to
It's
go see it.
it's very immersive.
Mhm.
Like the explosions and sounds, like, and then the way they use the music
Yeah.
and kind of like the noises and stuff. It's like, whoa.
Your blood pressure will shoot straight up. I had actually decided to do a little bit of research on it afterwards, and turns out that the Veterans Hotline for helping out some of the people suffering from PTSD.
Oh, wow. So,
The film.
something I found interesting was a lot of people on Twitter and the various social medias that I have were saying that it's really good in IMAX. So, did any of you see it in IMAX?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sadly, I didn't. Yeah, I know. I just watched regular, but it was still really good on regular. So I can imagine how much more so it'd be, in IMAX.
Yeah, I have to go give it a watch. Seems like a fascinating movie. I always liked war movies and history in general. All right, so that's pretty much it for you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just if you're going to see it in as high quality as you can manage.
All right.
It's worth it.
How about you, newly crowned co-host?
Yes.
What games or anything of that variety?
Yeah, besides Dunkirk, I don't know. I've been recently playing Wolfenstein: The New Order. I guess in terms of video games, so it's the reboot of the Wolfenstein series, but the newest one, and the second one's coming out soon. So I was like,
that looks pretty cool.
yeah,
actually.
it looks pretty cool. So like having played the first in the reboot series, the older one, it's pretty fun myself. I think a lot of killing action. Yeah, a lot of running around with different guns and like doing all sorts of fun stuff. So it's like kind of makes me excited and want to pre-order the new one, the new Colossus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, might pick that one up. So that was that's basically what I've been playing a lot of.
That and PUBG, I suppose.
Yeah, PUBG. Yeah, right.
I guess
finally,
I'll get to that.
I know, playing it with you.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it.
All right.
Those kind of games revolving around that single player, and then the other one for multiplayer.
Just a little disclaimer for the listeners. If it sounds like any of us haven't been playing a lot of games, it usually either means one of two things. One, we're incredibly busy because most of us, in fact all of us, are going to be moving to various locations in a couple weeks, and that's very stressful, and you have to prep for that. Or two, we really like that one particular game, and that's what we play.
Yeah, and then I get obsessed.
Yeah.
We get obsessed, yeah.
Speaking of obsessed, my week, I didn't see any new movies, but I did pick up a couple new games because I got paid, which was really nice, having money again to buy stuff. And it's also stressful setting that kind of banking stuff up. So, but yeah, anyhow, so I ended up picking up PUBG and playing that with some friends of ours, and I really like the game. It's been really fun. It's super immersive. Like I'd never think that you get immersed in a game like that, but it's extremely tense. Like you get extremely anxious, and I think you can speak to this, Lorenzo, when we were playing.
Yeah, like my heart races and I sweat.
Yeah, it's just like
my arms, my underarms perspire, and I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Especially when you hear the gunshots are so loud.
Oh god, yeah, it's
Because
ridiculous.
typically it's pretty quiet, and maybe you can hear some gunfire in the distance or whatever. But then if you're just kind of like searching in a house or in a town or just walking somewhere, and it's just like.
Yeah, and then it's like
you get blasted or something.
Your ear, and you're like, where is it coming from?
Where are they? If you don't die in the first minute, just like a couple of seconds.
Okay, and then PUBG, obviously, that was the kind of the game that I've been hyping up myself for weeks. But I'll probably end up just a little announcement. I'll probably make another announcement on Twitter. Probably gonna be doing a PUBG like special podcast with some like friends of ours that I play the game a lot more than I do. Just to talk about the game, the state of the game, reactions to the game, and
it sucks because there's transactions.
Yeah, we'll talk about that especially. So I've been playing PUBG, and that's just a little side announcement. And then the second thing I was going to talk about, well, I picked up two other games. Ultra Street Fighter 4, which is a game from my youth that I loved a lot, but I never really learned because I wasn't that into Street Fighter at the time. 10 years. It hasn't been 10 years. It's been like 6 years. 6 years have passed, and I'd like to get back into it. So I picked it up, and it's really fun. There are motions in it. I know this is probably boring for most of the audience, with the exception of like the people that like fighting games. But the motions in it are kind of complicated, and I'm not used to them, and I'm kind of glad they took them out in the next game. But that game's been fun. And then this game by the studio Behemoth, by the same people who made Castle Crashers and the game Battle Block Theater. They're making a game called Pit People, and this is actually where I want to talk to you, Jonathan. about the like you like chess, right? Well, let's just set that out. Like Jonathan likes chess, so explain chess and like
Yeah.
So
Well, it's any kind of
any strategy game.
kind of games,
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. Definitely.
So pit people. Let me explain this system concept. Imagine it's basically a strategy game, but you move your characters around and you don't control who they attack, but you can move them in certain positions so that they can attack. It's basically a strategy game, but it's got really nice art style, a great soundtrack, really good voice acting by a lot of people that I follow from the Newgrounds community, the animation and stuff like that. It's $15 on Steam. It is early access, so it has problems, but overall it's multiplayer. $15 on Steam, like I said before. And I don't want to sound like I'm advertising for it, but it is a really good game. I put in like 7 hours and I bought it like yesterday. So
I might give it a look then.
Give it a look. It's multiplayer. It's got cool co-op. Like I said before, everything. It's really well made. A lot of love's being put into it, and it's supposed to be out of early access by the end of this year. But it doesn't even feel like an early access game. So, if you like Castle Crashers. If you like the art style of Castle Crashers or Battle Block Theater, and you like the narration of Battle Block Theater and the style, go check Pit People out. And if you like chess, go check Pit People out, because it's a really fun game. Don't make fun of my stutter. It's not funny.
Yes, it is.
You're the co-host. You're not supposed to make fun of me. Did you see Joseph never did this? Oh wait, no, never mind. He did. That's why he's gone. So go check the game out. But that was my week. That's pretty much my last 2 weeks. I've been playing games like that with friends, enjoying life before.
Shit week, I see.
Yeah. Yes. The classic shit week. All right. So that's pretty much our weeks. I don't know. There's not much else going on, so I'm going to get into the next segment where it's the news. Give me a moment. I have to pull this up.
Come on, you're supposed to have this ready.
I know. Listen. This came on, what do you call it? This was spontaneous. This was of the moment. Alright, we have, well, I guess I could talk about, okay, so, for those of you who don't follow Sonic games, which is like most of you,
True.
A game called Sonic Mania is coming out, I believe this week or next week for consoles. It was supposed to come out for PC as well, but they're moving it down a bit. But that game looks amazing. It is a kind of a throwback game to the old style of Sonic games. It looks really nice. It looks like it's going to be one of the best games they've ever made, and I'm probably going to pre-order it. And that was announced, like the official date it's coming out, and the PC version was delayed. But I'm perfectly fine with that because I think that more games need to do that. If you look at the dumpster fire that is Destiny, I think if you had delayed its release by a couple months, it could have been a way better game. Because I think it would have been more complete.
Yeah.
I know, I was like, and there's a lot of stuff cut, I heard, I think.
Yeah.
For it. Yeah.
If I might kind of just take over here for a
sec.
The release schedule for Destiny was a fiasco to end all fiascos.
Yeah.
It was just god awful. The reason why I think most people stuck with it, myself included, and I'm willing to say Lorenzo did the same, was because of the lore that they had set up for it. The first game wasn't so much about your individual story as it was, I felt, just kind of setting up the universe that the series takes place.
Yeah.
It's the first one after all in whatever trilogy, tetralogy, something.
Yeah. Basically, it's a world builder, and I'm holding out hope for this one because this feels like, now that the setting is all done, an actual personalized storyline at this point. I hold no reservations about, or I hold no delusions about the release schedule. That was god awful, and it's caused me to lose quite a bit of trust in Activision. And Bungie.
Yeah, especially Bungie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because Bungie is responsible for some of the better shooters of the last era of video games, I'd say.
A lot of fans kind of felt betrayed at that.
Oh, I would feel the same. I will say this as an outsider because I think my perspective on Activision has always been a negative one. They've never really been a good company. They've always tried to gone for the money. And Lorenzo and Morjan, you can speak to this too, but more Lorenzo, I guess, because I from the onset of that game when I found out that Activision was involved, I was very concerned about Bungie because it's like, yeah, they're finally making a new game. It's not Halo. It's nice to see them do something fresh and exciting. But it's just like you said before. It's the release fiasco. I don't know. I think they ruined a game that probably could have been a lot better had they not rushed its development.
Hopefully the sequel can kind of pick things up.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to be optimistic about it. I don't know about Activision's past history. I haven't been too clear on it. My only experiences have been with Destiny and then also with the Insane trilogy for Crash Bandicoot, although I don't know how involved they were there.
They were pretty involved. They also were responsible for that game. Because you played it, right?
Yeah.
How many have you played through all 3 games?
Well, originally the only game I had for that was the 3rd game, and I loved it. Okay. Which is why I got the Insane trilogy.
Okay.
I've played through the 1st and 2nd since then, and I can see why a lot of people say that the 3rd is superior.
Yeah. Yeah, because my perspective on those games is, well, just for a little context, I grew up with Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex, which is the 4th or the 5th. It was a really crappy game made by the same people who made the OG Lego games, and I think they still make them, Traveler's Tales.
Oh yeah, Traveler's Tales, yeah.
So they made those games, but it's just a really bad game. So my experience of Crash was not a good experience. And seeing the Insane trilogy, it looked like they did a pretty decent job with the first 2. The 3rd one, I had never played it, so I didn't really think much of it. But I think that overall as a game, it's definitely one of the better things Activision's worked on, I'd say. Yeah, but that's what was I saying? Oh yeah, that was the Sonic Mania, and then we were talking about Destiny. I was like, what derailed us into Destiny? Other news. I guess on the topic of old school games being revived, Yooka-Laylee, which is the game that's supposed to be the spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, for those of you who know it, received an update apparently that fixed a lot of it. And the only reason I'm bringing this news up is because not because I played it, not because I care. Well, I care, but for a different reason. The game came out, I think, like 5 months ago, and they released this update that fixes a majority of the a lot of the problems with the games. My problem with it is why does it take you so long to release that? The game was kickstarted, it was funded quite heavily, more than was necessary. So I'm trying to figure out why exactly it takes them so long to come up with an update.
Mighty number 9.
Well, that's a classic example of a dumpster fire Kickstarter project.
I don't know, even though it can be heavily funded, doesn't mean it's gonna be good.
That's true. Well, I mean, then you have Skullgirls, which was also heavily funded, and it did really well. It's a fantastic game.
You can't
tell. Stuff like that. Oh, sorry.
No.
No.
Stuff like that's really hit and miss because before I continue, that stuff basically falls into the category of indie games, right? Stuff that's kind of because a couple of games I've played that weren't affiliated with big publishers. One of them's this RTS called Grey Goo. Stuff like that can be amazing. Like you'd been saying earlier, a lot of those smaller games have a lot of love put into them. Unfortunately, it kind of just lost its funding and dried up a couple years back. But the cutscenes were better than some of the stuff I've seen in more mainstream games.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, and this is something that I always wanted to kind of talk about on the podcast. I talk about it a lot. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see I rant about it a lot. But I don't really trust the indie game community anymore because you have these developers that will go and I talked about it in the last podcast, but I got into an argument with somebody on Twitter over a game that was made. And it was just it's like games like the game that was on Twitter. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because I already spoke enough. But games that are made just to make money exclusively without putting any detail, without making a good game. It's like, I don't know, it just pisses me off. I don't know, I can't really explain like what I want from the indie game community, but I want more authentic gaming. I want more games like Skullgirls, like Grey Goo, like Pit People, Castle Crashers, games like that where there's a lot of attention put into them, and they're still unique and they're not just a rehash of old ideas done over and over and over again.
And it's a naked cash grab, basically.
Yeah, and the thing that bothers me too is, like when a game developer is like, "Oh, we're gonna make this game, it's gonna be great," and then they come out and it's not, as much as it's not what people were expecting, or it's not what people were promised. And then the indie games developers' response is, "Oh, it's an indie game," so they slap that label onto it. And indie to me nowadays, when I hear the term
makes it
indie
negative.
I think of lazy. It just means lazy to me. It means, oh, we just wanted to make a game that will get us a lot of money, or someone on YouTube was gonna play it, or whatever. Our intent wasn't to make an actual good game. Our intent was to make money, and that was it. There was no, we're not gonna make money to make more games. We're just gonna make money. And it's like, yeah, it's like what you said, Lorenzo. It makes it negative. Yeah, but that's my little rant on indie games. It is a problem, though. I wish it wasn't a problem, because I love, there are companies that I'll go out and support with my money, with like supporting them through Patreon,
or I'd like to support.
or I'd like to support. I can now, like I have the funds to, but or games I like to kickstart. Games like Fight Night, if you ever heard of that. It's a very old school pixelated take on like dungeon games. It's
crawlers.
It's like a dungeon crawler, but it's different. I don't know how to describe it. It's like if you took Punch Out.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, if you took the combat from Punch Out and you put it into like a dungeon crawler, but like did like old school style. It's really fascinating. It's really neat.
Bit of a mix.
Yeah, I like it because it's unique. It's like, oh, you would never think you do match these two styles of games, because I do believe, like, okay, I don't think there's a lot of originality left in the world, or there never was in the first place, but especially when it comes to game design, there's not a lot to work with anymore. But if you could take two concepts of game design, put them together, you get something that's really fascinating, really unique. Like, take PUBG, for example. Like, PUBG, okay, it's been done 5 billion times before. You have DayZ,
Battle Royale,
H1Z1.
Yeah.
But for some reason, PUBG, the atmosphere, it does something with the atmosphere. The little details, the
setting feels unique.
Yeah, well, it's not even that the setting feels unique. It's like, oh, they shot me from, like, my left side. I got hit from the left side. You can hear it in your ear. Like, you hear it through the sound, the surround sound.
Oh.
You can hear people stepping to the side of you, on top of you. You become paranoid. It's like you're actually there. It's very immersive. And it almost makes it like you don't even get mad when you lose, because it's like, oh, like it's just the game is fun just playing in itself. Even if you lose, it's fun to win, though. I will say that it's really satisfying to win, or even come close to winning.
Yeah, I know.
But there's just games that like evoke a feel, and I think that, I prefer that in the gaming industry more than, oh, here's the next Call of Duty game, or here's the next, I don't know, what's a game that had like a ton of microtransactions?
I don't know, a lot of games just have microtransactions.
I don't even think, I guess on the topic of that, I don't even think microtransactions are a bad thing.
I mean, typically they're for, like...
What were you gonna say?
No, they're typically for, like, what do you call it? Skins type of stuff, like aesthetic.
Yeah.
Things for your character. Like, it's like you don't need them, it doesn't really change the game.
Yeah.
But people still spend a lot, like I know in Overwatch.
Well, I'll say this, and I think you both have played Star Wars Battlefront, the 2015 one.
Yeah.
The problem with that game is it kind of did make it, if you wanted to enjoy the game, you kind of did have to pay for the DLC. There were certain weapons, certain upgrades that you had to have the DLC, or at least the season pass to get to enjoy the game, or otherwise you just ended up with like, it was just a boring game where you just got one shot by the EE4 or didn't have an active bomb.
That's
What were you gonna say?
Oh no, no, I was just gonna say I actually stopped playing the game because I wasn't willing to pay for some of that stuff, but it was kind of just impossible to have much of a footing in any round if you didn't have access to some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that that's something else they fix in Battlefront 2, although I've been hearing, I don't know how much of this is true. I've heard some rumors about microtransactions making a triumphant return in that game.
It is.
I don't know.
No, so like this. Well, talking about kind of like sequels and how to improve on their predecessors, kind of like how Destiny. For Battlefront, the DLC is free this time, so there's no season pass or like whatever you have to pay for. So that's all free basically, and then you just pay for the base game, and then they give you stuff as it comes out, kind of like Titanfall. How they too.
I think Titanfall does it the best, but
The second game basically it's like we have no season pass anymore. We're just gonna roll out DLC for you guys for free. So it's good because it doesn't divide the community. Like I've seen before, people write about it like, oh, those who just own the base game and just don't want to pay for anything more, and then those who will pay because it's those people who played the DLC game, like maps and other stuff like that. They are separated kind of from the base game people because they don't have it. So this kind of closes the gap, I guess. But then to kind of make the money still, there's the microtransactions, as we were saying. But it's to unlock star cards, I think. Like ways to boost your heroes or villains, and then I think cosmetics too.
It is cosmetics for sure, I believe.
But I think you can buy the crates though with in-game money. I'm not sure. I forgot, like with credits or whatever in the game.
It's basically pretty much what you said, and then the cosmetics. It's kind of like what they're doing with PUBG, and I don't want to talk a lot about what's going on with PUBG because I'm saving that. But it's kind of like where there's two types of crates you can buy. There's like one that has better drops, and then there's the standard one that you just unlock with in-game money.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're going for. We'll see when it comes out. I'm excited for the beta.
Oh yeah. Regardless of the microtransactions, it looks like they've picked up a lot of the slack from the first game.
I think the problem with the first game was Disney interference. Because they wanted the game out before Force Awakens came out. And as a result, you can tell it was kind of rushed.
And then that's why there's Force Awakens stuff in this one now, along with Last Jedi stuff.
I think what were you gonna say?
It kind of seems like. Well, actually, no. Finish up your thought first, and then I'll come in after.
Oh no, you can. I was just gonna say something about the DLC of Battlefront 2015. The one thing I do like is the Rogue One DLC is actually very good. All the DLC is actually pretty decent, I must say. For that game, Bespin especially. They're definitely
they're all
better
really
than the base game.
Done well. It's fun. I mean, compared to it.
No, but what were you gonna say, Jonathan? Sorry.
I was just gonna say. Initially when Disney first bought Lucasfilm, it seemed like it was gonna go down the hole. They had a bit of a stranglehold on a lot of the media and products. Yeah. Right after they buy, but it might just be me, but it looks like they're starting to let the reins a bit loose initially. This is a bit off topic, but with Rebels, the TV show, when they kind of gave Dave Filoni a bit more of a prominent role in producing it, the show got a bit better in its second and third seasons.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
And now with the second Battlefront game from EA coming out, it looks like they're starting to kind of understand that this isn't something they can have a direct role in without changing it from what the fans love it for, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're saying, definitely better. And as it goes on, I guess, because it was just a burgeoning, franchise, so to speak, in terms of the new era.
Yeah.
So, I guess, kind of adjustment to how they wanted it to be nowadays. Yeah. So, as it comes along, obviously, there'll be more content because, people are like, oh, when the old EU was gone, Expanded Universe, that was like 30 years of content.
Yeah.
20 years. Just about, 2 decades basically. And now, and everyone's like, oh, there's so little content. But, it's only been a couple of years. So wait till you get till 20, 30 years, and then we'll see.
Then we'll judge.
Mm-hmm.
That pretty much does it for relevant news. I mean, news that I guess the listeners and I am cared about.
No one cares
I care
about
about the 3 people that listen. 2 of which or one of which is here. So that does it for the news. So normally this would be the part where I go into the question. But I guess because I have Jonathan here and Lorenzo's here, I wanted to talk about 2 things in particular. One major thing, and I guess it's just the segue from Star Wars. But how do you like? Because we're all pretty big Star Wars fans, like lore wise, like just everything about it. So we'll do a little Star Wars Q&A here, and then I'll go on to the second topic, and then we'll do the final wrap up, and then that'll be it. So my first question about Star Wars is, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? Lorenzo, go first.
I guess say 5. That's be like, oh, 5's the best one, of course.
Okay, 5. No. Okay, say your favorite Star Wars movie and why. Yeah. There we go. That's
it's like, question. I don't know, like, when I was younger, it's always been my favorite, like, since I was a kid even. Like, at my birthday party, one of my friends, she gave me the 5th one, episode 5 on like, DVD or something. I was like, wow, 5, my favorite one, because everyone knows that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
I guess, probably the reason why a lot of people think it's cool is, Hoth, basically, Battle of Hoth, the AT-ATs and kind of that stuff.
Well, even the best one, Darth
that's
Vader
crazy.
fight is insane.
Yeah, and then that one, of course, that one's a even bigger one, the reveal, of course. He's his father, duh. So that one's crazy, too. And then, we got Boba Fett, introduction there. He only had like 5 lines though, but you've seen what other stuff has come out since then, and obviously it's built a lot upon him. And yeah, it's just like you can really see the might of the Empire, and there's so much cool stuff to it. I think.
Yeah.
I really like Imperials better than Rebels.
Same, dude.
Honestly. Yeah.
I love that uniformity.
Yep. All right. And Jonathan, how about you?
Rogue One gave, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Empire as well. Generic answer, of course, but
I mean, it's a good answer.
I mean, yeah, it's not wrong.
For the same reasons as Lorenzo.
Kind of. When I was younger, though, the reason why, frankly, was because of they had more monsters, quote unquote, in there. The Wampa fascinated me for whatever reason.
That's pretty funny.
But I do agree that with people thinking it's the best out of the original trilogy, because A New Hope was good, but it was bogged down by world building.
Yeah.
Well, that was the first one.
It's kind of a chronic problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's an unavoidable kind of hole to slip into when you're setting up any kind of universe, and then Return of the Jedi, I think we can all agree, didn't quite live up to it. It was a good film, but it didn't quite live up to its 2 predecessors.
Oh yeah, I would agree too.
Of course, it's still grand and a good movie.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it has to do with the portrayal of Vader. In the first one, we didn't know all that much about him. We didn't get to see too much of him aside from the Death Star fight. In episode 6, it was apparent that he was growing weaker. That's why Palpatine wanted to replace him. But in episode 5, and this is also why I like Rogue One a ton, you get to see him in all his glory, basically. You get to see him in his prime.
Well, that's why Rebels is also kind of good when Darth Vader is in Rebels, is because you get to see him in his prime.
Yeah, because after.
I have to give to that show, because one of the things when it comes to having Vader in any form of media nowadays is you have to know you have to have the balance with him. You can't have him too much, or else you start to take away from the character that people love. But if you have too little of him, it doesn't make sense to include him at all. Rebels did that masterfully.
Yeah.
Business with 5, 4,
Leave
3,
now.
2, 1. The whole business with just That was something that rewarded fans of the Clone Wars for sticking around in Rebels.
Oh, with
that
the Ahsoka thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was amazing.
All right. Well, there's yours. Mine is it's hard because I want to give the generic. I do love Episode 5 like a lot. Everything about it. The soundtrack is amazing. The visuals for the time are amazing. But Rogue One takes the cake for me because Rogue One, I think it's because it's the newest. It's really refreshing to see a good Star Wars movie like that in the modern era. I don't think Force Awakens is a very good movie. Well, okay, I think it was cool. I'm like I like it, but it's a New Hope. It's just a New Hope. It's rehashed New Hope. With different characters, and I mean it's got its moments. Kylo Ren is a character. Yeah. We're gonna say?
Yeah. There's a small amount of defense for it being a New Hope rehashed, and that it's serving the same purpose as a New Hope.
Yeah,
it's world building again.
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair that it gets a better.
It's totally new.
Yeah.
Everything basically. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, it serves its purpose. We know what the First Order is. We know where it came from, kind of.
No.
We know what the Resistance.
Not exactly. Not
We
necessarily
know nothing
exactly.
about the First Order, really.
Technically, not really.
Okay, I guess you'd have to go into the novels for some of that. We have a vague idea of where it came from. We don't know what happened in the interim when it disappeared and came back.
Yeah. I will say this though. Speaking of novels, the novels surrounding The Force Awakens are all really good. They're all amazing.
Oh yeah.
They're all really
Aftermath was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Rogue One just did everything for me. It has a really good storyline. It's very emotional, but it's like a war movie. That's why I like it.
That's what I was gonna say, the war aspect, because I don't know.
Yeah.
They really show you like Imperial takeover, because it's like, you know, they got the tanks in the streets with the patrols. You know, they got
a 1984 feel.
It does.
Yeah, the droids. They got the walkers, the ATSTs patrolling also. You know, they got their installations all over the place.
The camps.
Yeah, the camps and everything. So it's like, yeah, they really did take over everything, the galaxy, basically.
I will say that, yeah.
Showing them in their height, sort of.
I will say this as well. It also shows like the origin of the rebellion, and like the reason I like it is it's way grittier than any other Star Wars movie ever was. From the Sol Guerrera, that's the best part, I think, of that movie.
Bringing in an animated
fan service.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not just that, but the fact that they show this extremist side of the rebels, and like,
it's not squeaky clean.
Yeah, it's not squeaky clean, and that like everybody in the rebellion isn't exactly like a good guy. You know?
Yeah.
What's his name?
It's kind of a gray.
Diego Luna's character.
Andor Cassian.
He is like, you know, he kills the dude in the very beginning. Like, they're not afraid to kill. I don't know. I like that because they weren't afraid to. I mean, I know they had to kill off a majority of the characters, but they were willing to do whatever they wanted. They had a lot of freedom. It was probably the most violent, I'd say, since Episode 3. But Episode 3 was fully violent because of the ending.
Obviously.
But I'd say this.
Yeah. We're gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say that the difference between this and Episode 3 is that the slaughter scene in Episode 3 was mostly CGI characters or costumes or whatnot.
This one was all real people, and the way they did it was
pretty much, yeah.
If you haven't seen Rogue One, and I mean, like,
it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on that. They're taking it.
Yeah, I watched it on my plane ride because I just had to.
Yeah, really good movie.
Yeah.
Good, really, really good soundtrack for it not being John Williams. Michael Giacchino, who did Incredibles, Up, and some other movies. But amazing soundtrack. Oh, see, he also did Spider-Man: Homecoming. He's amazing, man.
Oh yes.
Really good soundtracks for a Star Wars movie. It's kind of refreshing. Have a new soundtrack, and they also do a lot of lore building, like behind the scenes that you don't really notice, like where Luke gets his X-wing codename.
Oh yeah, why he's Red 5.
And also Scarif is a beautiful like location, because it's ironic that, like, you know, all this stuff happens on this like beautiful planet. And then Krennic, like just everything about it. The main antagonist, if you've ever read Catalyst, I know you have, I think, Lorenzo, have you read Catalyst?
Catalyst. Yeah.
Krennic as a villain
so.
is really interesting because it's like you said, it's the Empire at the height of their power, but then it even shows that within the Empire there were some problems.
There's power struggles within the Empire, of course. All the Imperial officers are groveling to get to the top.
It also
mobs are at each other's throats.
I also think it makes New Hope a better movie. And that's why I like it. It makes the other movies better because it
enhances it.
It makes A New Hope make more sense as to why Tarkin is in control. Because in A New Hope, if you watch it, you're like, who's Tarkin? Like,
who's this guy bossing around Vader?
Yeah, and it's like, oh, if you see Rogue One, okay, he bossed around the guy. He bosses around everybody. Like he's.
And if you've read the Tarkin novel, you'd know even more.
Yeah.
Like it's very good. Yes.
So it's just done really well. He's not afraid to go out and take care of things on his own. Like to kill people, he's just not afraid to do that kind of stuff. He kills Jin's mom.
If you read Tarkin, you'd know.
Oh yeah. Are you telling the audience and me to go read Tarkin?
Yeah, you need to read Tarkin basically. Right. You realize like a lot of his inner workings and why he is the way he was raised and why is he the way he acts and is. Yeah.
So there's my answer. Second question. Of all the Star Wars prequels, which one is your personal favorite? We'll just go through this quick. You don't have to tell me why. Just tell me the personal favorite. Because there's another question I want to get to that'll take more time. What would you say, Lorenzo?
Probably 3, and like I like the end of 2 just because it's the clones, the beginning of the Clone Wars. But then 3.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick. I thought it was good. I guess.
All right. And then how about you, Morjan?
I'd say 2 would be good because of the Phase 1 armor. Just love it. But 3 had the best action scenes, I think.
Yeah,
and more
that's what I'm saying.
All right. Next question. Who is your favorite character of the original trilogy? And I guess this includes Force Awakens. Who's your favorite character of the original trilogy and Force Awakens? I think there's a pretty obvious answer, but...
I know, right? Who, Boba Fett?
Yeah, Boba Fett. I mean,
yeah, right. I was like, that's me. Yeah, I'd probably say that.
Yeah,
he's too cool. Mandalorians are cool in general.
If you haven't, and if you can find them, I haven't been able to find them. They used to be in my library all the time. But the Boba Fett prequel books of what happens after episode 2 and up until like where he gets his armor, what happens to his armor.
How he gets Slave One.
Really badass because it talks about he does a lot of crazy things.
How he turned out working for Jabba. Yeah. There's a lot of familiar good faces from like Clone Wars era, and that you've maybe seen in the movies but don't really know too much of. But yeah, if you're really into it, totally read that. Non-canon now, but heck, they're still good.
They're amazing. I mean, like he fights General Grievous.
He fights Dirge.
He tries to get revenge.
Anyone knows Dirge.
He tries to get revenge on Mace Windu, which is really cool.
Oh yeah, and which they kind of did in Clone Wars too, the new animated series where Jessica Windu.
It's just really neat lore building for a character that doesn't really have a lot of lore originally.
And in his original appearance.
How about you, Jonathan? Favorite character in the original series and Force Awakens, I guess.
Whichever, yeah.
Honestly, I'd have to say, surprisingly enough,
who?
Tarkin.
Tarkin. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just because I've always... If I were in that universe, I'd want to be someone who... the public face, but... I don't know, there's something respectable about the guy.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Rogue One, you do develop a sort of respect for him, and almost like a he's like extremely evil and manipulative.
Yeah, see if
you read Tarkin,
you know why or how he gets these where he gets these things from. The Tarkin family has been at it for ages.
Yeah, but
just to see someone who... Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I do find it fascinating too that he kills Krennic with the Death Star, which is ironic.
Because Krennic was the director of the Death Star project. Yeah, so he's like, I
don't know. I just like
mine now. Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Jonathan?
I was just gonna say, just the character. Even I'd say from just watching the A New Hope, you can get the impression that this is someone who is accomplished in the Empire.
Oh, yeah,
this is someone
definitely.
who has been at it for a long time, and this is them at kind of the apex of their victory.
I would agree with that. All right.
So I'm saying the height.
Mine's probably the same as Lorenzo, as I kind of made it obvious earlier. I love Boba Fett and everything about him. The non-canon post Episode 6 lore of him is also really good. Because he lives. He did not die. And that's all really good. Yeah. But that's really cool. So the next question is your favorite prequel character, and that can include the Clone Wars.
Oh, Clone Wars, then there's so many.
Actually, you want to know what? Let's just do prequel movies first. No, don't need to explain, and then we'll do Clone Wars, and we'll do the explanation for Clone Wars because I feel like that's the best one.
Movies.
Yeah.
Prequel movies, including Rogue One. Rogue One counts as well as a prequel.
I gotta go with the Fett again.
Oh, you gonna go with Jango?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because I mean, I played also the Jango Fett games and seeing how he became the template for. Yeah, the clones and how he got the slave one. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's
really fascinating.
and then I've read also some of the comics of how he became, supporting Mandalore against Tor Vizsla.
Yeah.
And that's a whole another thing.
Oh my gosh, we could have a podcast about that in itself.
Yeah, I know.
If you haven't watched it, we'll talk about it when we get to Clone Wars. But if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, watch it because it's amazing. Particularly the Mandalorian Civil War. Is probably one of the best set of animated television you could probably get for Star Wars.
Very, very good. Highly recommend.
All right, how about you, Jonathan? Favorite prequel character? Not from Clone Wars. Clone Wars doesn't count.
Like the animated show.
Well, General Grievous by far, mostly because, and I'm going to violate the rule a little bit here, mostly because the first portrayal of him I saw was the 2003 Genndy Tartakovsky cartoon.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess we won't count
the
that.
Original Clone Wars.
The good one. Well, they're both good.
Cartoon.
Yeah, they're both good.
I know it's not canon now, but still, it's
pretty dope.
It's like the fact that there was this guy who isn't even force sensitive, but through other means is able to take on people who are supposed to be invincible.
Yeah. It's insane. I think the third movie was a cool introduction for just a casual moviegoer, but I think his expanded lore is like Boba Fett, where he is a way cooler character than you think.
He was a Kalish warrior, super highly respected, but Dooku
he has
made him
real
crash.
Reason. Yeah. He has real reason for hating the Republic.
Yeah, it's really neat. And then mine. This one's tough.
I know, it's kind of hard.
It's a cross between Dooku and probably Grievous. I really like
Dooku.
I like Dooku, but mainly because of non-canon reasons. And his kind of responsibility he's indirectly responsible for Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, just the whole his connection to them, and then his I'm going to be the next Sith Lord with Palpatine, but then he's not. I just thought it was just everything about him, and the fight scene in Episode 2 and the fight scene in Episode 3 is all really good. And but I think a lot of it has to do with I like Christopher Lee as an actor.
Yeah, of course.
But General Grievous General Grievous is a really good character. Maul is a good character, but for other reasons, and we'll get to that in the next question. But the next question is, what is your favorite character in the Clone Wars animated show, and why?
There's a lot.
There is a lot.
Trying to think the clones.
I mean, the clones are cool.
They're there's so many of them.
The final season clones are really good.
And then they're very individual.
Yeah, that's what I like about them. They're not actually.
Clones with a personality. Yeah, sorry.
The series developed them better than any other form of media, I think, because even the 2003 cartoon, they were still kind of faceless.
Yeah.
Except for Fordo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, your favorite character? I mean, would it be the clones? Honestly?
I know, I can't lie.
You could say the clones.
The clones.
Yeah.
All of them. I don't know, Rex is cool. He's in Rebels, too.
Yeah.
Lead commander, or captain, rather, of the 501st, with Anakin and stuff.
Yeah.
So, very cool. There's a lot of good bounty hunters and people. I don't know. Yeah.
Too many characters. But
There's too many characters. There's so many. I can't
Yeah.
even like. There's probably ones. Or there's a lot of them I don't even remember, but they're just cool.
It's probably
So
one of the
many
best
good
shows, best
You know,
movie-based shows I've ever
like
seen.
in a long while.
Yeah, I don't think there'll ever be another one. I would hope there's another Star Wars-esque one like it, but I don't think there ever will be.
Filoni says there's gonna be something else after this last season of Rebels.
I hope so.
Well, let's hope there's a series in the interim period between 7 and 6.
Everyone
be
wants
nice.
an Old Republic
Oh, I'd like that.
show.
That would be great.
Something,
Like-
anything but the Forces of Destiny, which is god awful. But
Jonathan's seen Forces of Destiny.
I
mean,
saw one episode,
It's fucking
which was
horrible.
the first one, and
What'd you think? What'd you
horrible.
think?
The art style is
Not-
lazy.
Shut up! Not you. I'm talking to Jonathan.
Oh,
I just kept telling myself, this is for 6 or 7-year-old girls, this isn't for me.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean basically.
Seeing this, so... I mean, you can... to figure out why the show even exists.
Yeah.
hmm
All right, more Jonathan. What's your favorite Clone Wars character and why?
God, I want to answer the clones as well, but I think specifically Fives.
Yeah, Fives. Is Fives the one that goes crazy?
Yeah, he's the one. He had the most tasteful death in the series, I'd say.
Yeah.
But just the character of him, because I'd say it accurately describes the experience of a veteran in the sense that your squad. There are some times when everyone around you is dying, and yet for whatever reason you keep going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, mine. Oh, this is tough. The Darth Maul saga is like
Oh,
single-handedly. You can make a movie out of that, and I would watch it because
They have the comics now,
Yeah.
the Darth Maul comics.
Dathomir.
Yeah.
just everything about that, like. See, I want to say the clones as well. I think they're really fleshed out.
It does. Everything's about the
Yeah.
clones. Yeah.
I think
Think-
Savage Opress is a cool character. I like his design,
uh,
but I don't think he's a very.
It wasn't fleshed out much.
Yeah, well, he's very like one-dimensional. He's just the big brute
Yeah.
that listens to his brother.
basically.
Lore-wise, they made him to be one-dimensional.
No, I know. I understand that. That's what I like
yeah,
about him.
yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, Joan Grievous in the Clone Wars is really fleshed out too.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
He got beat by Gungans. That's
Yeah.
garbage.
Well, he is garbage. He is garbage. He got killed in the worst. We can talk about that after, but he got. Well, I guess we can talk about it now. He got killed in one of the worst ways you could die as Joan Grievous. A guy
He
who's
got
killed
blasted.
multiple Jedi. He gets killed by a blaster gun.
Hello there.
basically.
And we'll talk about prequel memes in a second. Don't you worry your little heads. Damn. I like. Oh, what's his name? The guy that takes over in the Civil War, the Mandalorian Civil War.
Oh.
Pre-Vizsla?
Vizsla?
Pre Vizsla. I
Yeah.
like his character a lot because he's like just this like he's very manipulative. I like manipulative characters in movies. As a
Just
villain.
you're manipulative.
Yes,
Just
that's very true. That's why Joseph's not here, guys. This secret is no longer a secret. We got into a fight. We're no longer doing the podcast together.
That's why I took over,
That's
as
why
I
Lorenzo took
proclaimed before. Yeah.
No.
Schism.
Damn. There's like no. That's. I just realized how hard of a question this is. Fuck.
Just too good.
It is. It's a really good show. The first season is okay,
Well, obviously, it's like that first stuff where
Yeah.
it's like,
but the
it's
second.
Figured out.
kiddie, and it's like alright, you know. But obviously, the more you go into it,
Yeah.
the more they invest, and it's like, well, wowzer.
Yeah, it probably
Only gets
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
Mhm.
watching the first season and then skipping ahead to something like the Umbara arc or the Mandalorian arc, you can kind
Oh
of
my
see
gosh.
It got darker. It got way
Yeah.
darker.
Umbara arc.
bone shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, people talking, like, comparing it to real life wars. Like,
Yeah.
it was Vietnam for them in Umbara. You know, them Zumbarans can come out of nowhere, and then they got
Mhm.
traps all over the place, and then they were totally getting
The
shot down.
wildlife seeding them.
Yeah, and then they're getting shot down right away when they land.
Yeah.
Oh, that was like the second battle of Geonosis. That one's insane too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think the thing about Clone Wars too that makes it hard is there are like really good singular episodes, like the
or like mini arcs,
mini arcs.
A couple
The
episodes.
Anakin one where they go to that where the good and evil, the good brother. I can't remember what it's called.
Or Mortis.
Oh,
Right?
Mortis, that one, the Mortis
That's
arc, yeah.
crazy.
And the daughter.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh, yeah.
That one was like, what even's happening?
Yeah. I like Darth Maul in the Clone Wars a lot. I think he's like one of the best characters in that show.
They fixed the treatment he got in Phantom Menace for sure.
They made him a way better character. Just a way more likable, and like all of a sudden you're like, you can kind of see where he's coming from. Because not only is he trying to get revenge on Obi-Wan by like doing, like, kind of repeating what he did to Qui-Gon, he's also out to take over. He's out to take over the market, the black market. I like him as like a bounty hunter as well, like a crime lord.
He has that underworld feel. I mean, he's into that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, fits in well, I guess. Because he did take over Mandalore for a minute.
And translated well to Rebels, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, as old man Maul.
That's a good ending for him.
And you can kind of see how he still has his evil tendencies, but he's not super bad.
He has his reasons.
Yeah.
It's not like evil for evil's sake.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Basically, the best thing about him was that it wasn't his choice to get mixed up in any of this.
Yeah.
He's a pretty smart Zabrak.
Yeah. Okay. Final Star Wars. Well, it's not the final Star Wars related question, but it's the final question of this little question segment. What is your favorite movie soundtrack from all the Star Wars movies or shows or whatever shows, movies, games? Favorite soundtrack?
Favorite soundtrack?
Because I already have mine.
I actually really like the music from. 6 is good, I guess, but I don't know. Like all the battle ones, I really like were like from 4, the attack on the Death Star.
Yeah.
And then Hoth. Battle,
Endor's a really good
and then
one too.
Endor's battle. Like the battle ones, I really like.
Yeah.
Just in general, the soundtracks for it.
So just those, I guess you could say the battle.
Yeah,
ones.
I mean, I guess you can kind of lump them together as like the battle soundtracks. To me, are pretty good.
All right.
Like I like just listening to them on their own sort of.
Same.
It's like cool.
How about you, Jonathan?
Those are great. They have this, they have that classic feel. But to me, honestly, I'd say 2 soundtracks from the Clone Wars, which are Death of a Master. That's the music that plays when Fives dies, kind of the trumpy stuff. And then when Ahsoka leaves.
Oh, that's a good arc too. Actually.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Those just strike me more because the movies are great. The original trilogy is awesome, but we didn't grow up with that. We grew up with the Clone Wars, and seeing stuff like that happen. It's pivotal stuff. We followed those characters up until the end.
Yeah. All right, mine's actually, I love Episode 3 soundtrack. I think it's really good because it's got a lot of songs from the old movies mixed into it. The theme of Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting is really good. The prequels, surprisingly, I think the prequels have, like, I wouldn't say better.
Dude, how can you not forget Duel of the Fates?
I like Duel of the Fates. I think it's good. Shit. Like, even that.
Temple March is good.
Yeah. I think it has a lot to do because I played a lot of Lego games growing up, and they had all the soundtracks mixed in.
I mean, if you play the Battlefront.
Yeah, or Battlefront, yeah.
It was the older game,
But I love Episode 3 soundtrack. Like, I can listen to that on end because everything about it is really good. But Episode 5, the Battle of Hoth, the Cloud City theme, Vader versus...
the Cloud City theme, yeah.
Vader versus Luke, the Emperor's, full theme is in that movie.
Oh, yeah. Which is actually in Episode 1.
Yeah, it is.
At the end, the Emperor's theme it's slowed down or sped up. I forgot. I think sped up, and it's that's the end of the March for Naboo when they win.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, it is. It's
crazy.
a little trivia for you.
That's
it's
cool.
the Emperor's theme.
Thank you for that Star Wars trivia. That was our Star Wars trivia for the day.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool because Palpatine's there, giving them. He's celebrating oh, you guys are so good, you saved Naboo, and I'm the senator of Naboo. He's really Frank. The emperor. Yeah, I'm Frank. Yeah.
Frank the Senate.
Frank the Senate Palpatine.
Yeah, Frank the Senate Palpatine, yes.
But Episode 5, the meteor, when they're in the meteor field, that song is really good. I don't know, everything about that movie is just, it's really well done. But I also have to agree that the battle scenes, every battle scene.
Obviously, the
Yeah.
music makes it even more.
Yeah. Well, I think the music's one of the main reasons I like Star Wars in the first place. The music and the lore. The movies themselves are okay, like all as a whole. There's like 2 good movies, like really really good movies.
They're a viewport into something that's larger and more
Yeah.
complex, and that's what draws people in.
That's why when people say like, "Oh, I don't like Star Wars," it's like, yeah, I can totally get that. Like, you don't like the movies, but if you don't like Star Wars lore, then it's like, yeah, you haven't taken the time to read it because it's actually all really fascinating. What people took with the information and ran, like they just ran with it. And it's amazing what lore came out of it.
Timothy
Lore
Zahn.
makes
Yeah.
franchise. Oh, sorry.
No, continue.
Oh yeah.
But lore makes a franchise a lot of the time. Brief little segue here, just to kind of use a lesser known example, but I know you, both of you are familiar with it. Bionicle lore versus the movies.
Oh, totally.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely. If you ever have the chance to, I don't know if the website's still up. I haven't gone to it. Jonathan, maybe you know more. But BionicleStory.com.
What'd you say?
BionicleStory.com is...
No, it's not up anymore, but BS01, Bionicle Sector 01 is kind of like it took it's a but they have a lot. They have pretty much everything up there.
Wow. I don't know. I found BionicleStory.com, but then it's under a new name.
Yeah, because they brought it back. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
They rebooted it and it sucked.
It is. I think this is
really horrible. It's really bad. They ruined a lot of the characters.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It got weird.
Yeah.
I mean, when they try to bring it back recently,
the best examples of a cash grab, because that's what that G2 was basically. That they were trying to recreate the magic from before, and it was a
also what was it? No, yeah, they also like started changing it out for the original Bionicle parts, which are like obviously rare to find and like they don't make anymore.
Yeah.
But now they turned in like Hero Factory. Like stuff like the things they use in Hero Factory they use in the new Bionicle ones.
They did manage to fix that partially because for the second generation, for the year 2 sets they had, they actually did go back to like the older designs. There was less clip-on.
I like the No, continue.
Say the story was.
Oh yeah. No, continue.
Oh, okay.
Shut up, Adrian.
No, I was just gonna say the story was god awful for G2. Have either of you seen the series they put up for it on Netflix, The Journey to One?
No.
No. Like, no.
Oh, if you have some time to kill, search it up and you'll see what I mean.
I don't think I want to.
Aha, I found it.
Anyhow,
oh god, what is this?
Overall, the reason I like Star Wars, and the reason I think a lot of us like it, is the soundtrack and the lore behind it, the movies. And the movies themselves are usually pretty good. And the battles. I think the war aspect of it is really neat and fascinating. So, the podcast is coming to an end, and this is normally the part where I'd say, hey, what should people that listen to this be looking forward to of your guys's? But neither of you make content, which is not a bad thing.
Yes, I'm not garbage like you.
I mean, the only content you make, Lorenzo, is the podcast now.
Obviously.
For as long as I'm doing it.
Check out my new podcast, One Trick, Two Takes.
Thank you. I'm gonna call this the Lorenzo Takeover. But since neither of you are doing something, I'm just gonna make a couple announcements regarding the podcast and the channel. So
we're shutting it down.
I can't promise a podcast in 2 weeks, but I can promise a podcast next week, hopefully, or sooner. Depends.
That's better. 1 week is better than 2 weeks.
I know 1 week's better than 2 weeks, but I'll be moving. I will be moving in 3 weeks. Most of the people that I do the podcast with will be moving in 2 weeks. And that's not to say that they won't be able to do it anymore. It's just
I won't.
We don't know.
Yes, unless you're awake from the hours of 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Oh,
Yeah.
no. 12 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so between 12 a.m. and 1 p.m.,
Yeah.
that's when I'm able to be free.
Well, for this first half of the year. But
If I don't,
yeah.
for this first semester, if
Yeah.
I don't have classes during that
Regardless,
time.
the podcast isn't going away. I just wanted to make a little update announcement because we're all moving to college and it's kind of stressful, and also we need to get transitioned into like our new schedule and our new place of living. So if the podcast stops for like a month, I don't anticipate it stopping for a month.
You're just gonna do a welcome to my crib vlog
Yeah.
when you get to college.
Hello, NTV. Welcome to my crib.
Exactly.
But more podcasts will be on their way. I can't promise anything else besides podcasts because I'm not sure if I'm gonna have time to. More music, maybe. I put up something like a couple days ago.
Garbage.
Some acoustic stuff that I've been working on, and I hopefully like to get another song out before I move. But other than that, more podcasts about more things. And if you like it, share this with your friends. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to.
Like, subscribe. Wait till the end.
Yeah,
there's a surprise.
Yeah, there's a surprise at the end.
Give
I
away.
reveal that Lorenzo is fired, and I'm bringing on Jonathan as a permanent co-host. I'm just kidding. That's not happening. Let's see what else. Depending on whether or not this keeps going, like we'll see where we are at the end of the year with how many episodes. Or at the end of like the month, we'll see how many episodes we're at. If we're at like 10 episodes, I don't think we are. I might call it a season and wait till another time to start the second season. But until then, that's pretty much the update. Neither of you stream, so I don't care. Neither of you have content. But hopefully both of you will end up on the podcast again.
Nah.
Sometime. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a long time.
Perhaps.
I don't know. We'll see.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's not even a chance I'll be able to do them. That being said, thank you for listening. This is probably, I don't know when this is going up, but thank you for listening. If you like, leave a comment below on what your favorite Star Wars character is.
Criticize
Criticize me.
Oh.
Criticize my bad audio management.
Yeah. Support his Patreon so he can buy better audio equipment things.
I might.
See, that's the kind of audio you
That's
want.
the kind of audio that everybody desires. That's what they want. I don't know. I'll make another update video. Maybe I'll do a journalism rant like I did like 5 months ago. Anyhow, thank you for listening. Bye. Say goodbye, everybody.
Why?